Joe, we hit the season finale.
Oh my God, we are.
This is it. This is the end of it.
Nice.
Yeah. And what better way to finish off the season than having a weird stuffy nose because of the weather and regretting not wearing more clothes while sitting inside a house that for some reason cannot get warm.
Oh.
I know, right? It's been a rough morning, and it's only been about 45 minutes of it.
Yep, I hear that.
But
yeah, I'm in like jeans and a sweatshirt and a hat in my room.
I'm at so I developed this weird habit of when I let Cooper outside, I just leave the back door open. So whenever he's done, he can come back in. And just because of the weather. Oh, and if you hear the sniffling, that's not Colin, returning. It's me. I probably shouldn't do things like leaving the back door open for Cooper to come in when he's ready when it's like 2 degrees outside. Even my computer is telling me it's very cold weather. But I want him to know that, hey, as soon as you're done, come on in and everything. And it just really affects the temperature inside the house. So.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, but thank God the heat's still working. I guess that's the important thing. So, but the biggest problem I do have with the cold is not the fact that it is cold. It's the fact that what's happening with my car, and what obviously seems like it's going to be a long-term issue for as long as I own it. And I want to talk about my experience about my car and check engine lights and taking it in and being told what's wrong with it. And I want to dive into that story. And I also want to talk about the article I sent you earlier this week about the exhibits and the museums that are being covered up.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I want to try something different where I say we're going to do something and then I commit.
Can we actually do it?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear other people do it and they have success with this, so I want to see what happens. Except for Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon.
Right.
Except that. Guys, before we dive into anything, I want to remind you all that this episode of This Freakin' Show is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs. Whether it be graded or raw, Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com. Check out their amazing store. Fill your cart up with all their amazing products. Go to checkout, use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. You'll save 10% on your entire purchase at CarterComics.com. Reminder, it is a discount code, not a promo code, which means that code will work multiple times over and over and over again. So, if you happen to buy a bunch of comics up, use our discount code, and then maybe, a couple weeks or a month later, you go back and find one you didn't see before because they're constantly adding titles to their store. Our discount code will save you 10% on that purchase as well. So make sure you go over there to CarterComics.com, check out their amazing store, use our discount code, save 10% on your entire purchase. Tuesday, I was driving to work, and check engine light came on. And my car informed me via the dash that my engine power was being reduced. And it's the first time it ever happened since I owned the car.
Right. I never even heard of this until you were telling me about it.
Oh, trust me, I do. Neither did I. And after speaking with the dealership, I realized that this is like a 4-cylinder issue. And so after the check engine light comes on and everything, I decided to leave the car in the driveway and drive to work with Carl until I could get it into the dealership on Friday.
Right.
Got it in and everything, dropped it off in the morning. Called in the afternoon to kind of follow up on it because I needed to know if I was able to pick up the vehicle, that day or what the plan was and everything. And after a bunch of goofy shit, come to find out that what is going on with my car is happening to about 90% of 4-cylinder vehicles that are being brought into dealerships in weather like this. apparently Chevy's four-cylinder vehicles cannot handle the cold.
What?
Yeah.
Weren't they invented in Detroit? What are you guys doing?
Fun fact, that's what the guy said. The guy, the service manager, or whatever, at the dealership said, it's like, I'm not quite sure what's going on, because I also own a four-cylinder, and the weather we had last year, that cold that we had last year, these vehicles were doing the exact same thing then.
Oh.
And he even said, like, I don't know what people in Canada do. The fact that these were made in Detroit, and Canada's not that far off, but he's only seen it happen in four-cylinder vehicles. He didn't exactly explain to me what, I mean, I'm sure he did explain to me, but I didn't quite comprehend it and follow through with it. The one thing I did understand was he said that there's a fix that they could possibly do that could fix the problem, except it's $2,500 to do it.
Whoa. And it only might fix it.
It only might fix it. And it's not covered by warranty.
Ugh.
Because come to find out, and I don't know if this is just Chevy warranty, if this is just extended warranty, or if this is just the norm of warranties, but the reason my vehicle has a check engine light and engine power reduction is an act of nature, not a mechanical flaw in the Chevys. And because of that, yeah,
oh my god,
oh yeah, and because of that, warranty will not cover it. Because the guy told me he's like this is a fix that a lot of people need, and every time we push it through to warranty, they reject it because the car isn't failing, the weather's failing us.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, I think, in a long time.
It's stupid sounding because in my mind you would think if they were built for the weather shouldn't be a factor.
Yes.
You know, and it's like if I left my window cracked or partially open or something throughout the night and it rained into the car and that caused the window motor in my door to malfunction, I can accept responsibility for that because that is I could even see that as an act of nature because that makes sense to me as nature affecting the vehicle. Yeah.
In a way that the vehicle's not made to function. Yeah.
And because I left the window open, I can accept responsibility for that. If I left the sunroof open and it rained in and messed up my center console, I can accept responsibility for that. An act of nature caused by my own ignorance. But when you have a vehicle and you do exactly what you need to do in order for that vehicle to function and operate, somehow decides to not work properly due to weather, I don't see how that isn't a mechanical issue because that means that something in that car was not built properly for the Midwest.
Right.
The guy, he's hoping, he said that he hopes, and I do too, and I'm sure a lot of people who also own four-cylinder Chevys, have a hope. And I don't want to just keep picking on Chevy because I've never owned a four-cylinder until I bought this one. So I don't know if it's only Chevy four-cylinders. It could be Fords or Dodges or whoever has four-cylinder vehicles. Maybe they have the same issue, and it's not just Chevy. So I don't want to sound like I'm picking on just Chevy. I will pick on the fact that their warranty will not cover, my vehicle not working because of the temperature outside. I will blame the warranty in Chevy for that because that's stupid.
Right.
He's hoping that maybe there'll be a recall on it, somewhere down the line and they can get all these fixed and everything. My biggest thing when he did talk to me and explain everything, I flat out told him, honestly, with what's going on, the check engine light, the power reduction and everything, is this something that's going to cause harm to my vehicle? And is it dangerous for me to drive it? And, he assured me that it won't. The reason check engine light's coming on is because of the engine power, and the reason the engine's powering down is because of the cold weather. So, yes, I could drive my vehicle. There shouldn't be any problems, whatever. The thing he told me was, if the light is on, it's okay to drive it. If it's flashing, don't.
All right.
But he said you should be able to drive it even with the engine power reducing. It's not reducing because it's breaking or breaking down. It's just decreasing the power to the engine, which obviously that's what I meant when I said reduction. So I can drive my vehicle. He said when it gets really, really cold, the check engine light may come on, the reduction may occur, but once the engine heats up to a certain point or it gets warmer outside, that'll just stop, the light will go away, blah, blah, blah.
All right. That's not
so
so
it's like,
bad then.
So I'm like, cool, yes. And that's what I said. I was like, you know what? I could deal with that and everything because I just can't justify spending $2,500 right now on a maybe. I just can't do it.
Right.
You know? Same reason I don't buy porn, you know?
Word.
So, my only problem with the idea of, you know, accepting what it is the fact that when a check engine light is on, automatic start does not work. Yeah, so because right now the light's off, they cleared the code and everything. Oh, and by the way, you know, thank you to Drollies and everything. You know, I know you guys did what you could for it. I know it's more of a Chevy big dad fucking big company warranty decision. I know you guys did what you could. And thank you for not charging me for my visit. I do appreciate that because they could have changed.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. The guy did say, you know, because it's my first time here, blah, blah, blah. You know, my first time bringing it in because of this and everything, he wasn't going to charge me. And I appreciate that because it could have been a couple $100 just to say, hey, we cleared a code. So I do appreciate that. But right now my automatic start will probably work just because the code is cleared, check engine lights off and everything. But once that check engine light comes back on, I will not have automatic start until it warms up to the point where it goes away on its own.
Right.
And I don't know what that temperature is. And I know that once that happens, I'll be sitting in a freezing car waiting for it to warm up just a little bit. Which, come to find out, you really don't need cars to warm up anymore unless it has a carburetor, which I guess I never really knew. I just was always on the assumption that you want a car to warm up to a certain time to where you want to drive it without an engine block cracking and shit. Apparently that's not a real thing. I didn't know. I heard it once and just rolled with it. You know, I'm a very impressionable person. Yeah. So that sucks. So I don't know. I know why I bought the car. I know it was a financial thing. I know it was a cost-effective thing. But it's just getting to the point now, it's like, how long am I going to actually have this and how long am I actually going to have to deal with this problem? Because, to be honest with you, I don't know when it's going to fucking warm up anytime soon. I think it's supposed to be in the 30s sometime this coming week, like for like a couple days, but it's also supposed to be like rainy and slushy those days and then drop again. So it'll be great when the spring and summer come along and everything, but what the fuck am I going to do for next winter? Like just wash, rinse, repeat this?
Right. Get a heater for your garage.
The guy did say, he's like, you know, you have a lot more, he's like, you have a lot more luck if you park in the garage. And I was like, well, I guess I got to clean out the garage now. I got too much shit in that garage.
Gotcha. Didn't even occur to me you weren't parking in the garage.
I haven't, I probably haven't parked in the garage since Colin moved out.
Oh, wild.
And, it's just because, you know, I don't understand how I have a house full of shit when I used to live in an apartment because I always thought of myself as kind of like, hey, I don't need a lot of things. I just need some things, but
right.
I have a fully furnished house and I got shit in my garage I don't need, like a stove and a dishwasher and 2 couches and a recliner and a buffet table and half the shit I definitely need to throw away, and the other stuff I gotta try selling, get rid of. But I mean, having a car is a lot easier than parking a truck in there and everything, and
for sure.
And I did have the idea of like, cleaning out the garage and stuff in the spring and trying to get it all organized to where I can park in there without a problem. Because the whole reason I wasn't parking in it to begin with is because I was doing, like the woodworking projects and, trying to develop that hobby and, doing something fun like that. And I just haven't done it. Yeah, no, I haven't done it in a while and everything. I will get back into it because I do have the tools and stuff that I wanted to get in order to do it. And I can always just move the car in and out and stuff like that, when I'm, working on the stuff, and just, park outside when, the stain or paint's drying and shit. But
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Colin's been gone since 2017 and I haven't parked in my garage since. I should. I mean, I'm paying for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, what do I want to say? It would cost you money to have storage space too.
That's true, yeah.
But you want to store all that stuff instead of having it in your garage. Yeah,
but the thing is, like the stuff that's in there, it's like it's nothing to me. It's like, so the stove is my old stove, and I replaced with the stove I have now, and the dishwasher was supposed to go with the appliances I got for my kitchen, but I don't have room in my kitchen to put a dishwasher. I mean, I could put it in. Except I would have no cabinet space for like pots and pans and shit, just because I have a smaller type of kitchen. So, I mean, you've seen that China cabinet thing that I modified into like a counter and stuff like that. So unless I took that out and put actual legit cabinets in there to put like my pots and pans in over there. Yeah, there's just no place for me to put a dishwasher because again, no pots and pans. I actually won't even have drawers for silverware and shit because again, smallest fridge. So nothing there needs to go into storage except for maybe that old chest that I got that I wanted to refurbish and everything. But it's getting to the point where I don't even think I want that anymore because I just got no space in my house for it.
Right.
So it's yeah, so it's doable to park in my garage and clean everything out, and I just gotta move everything out to the garbage, one big thing at a time. So but yeah, but my garage isn't something exciting to talk about. It's cars. So if you guys have 4-cylinders out there that are Chevys, I feel your pain. I feel what you're going through. Also, if you happen to own like a Dodge or a Ford or a Hyundai or whatever, any other 4-cylinders out there, and you're having the same issue, let me know because I don't want to feel like I'm alone here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, I'll never buy a 4-cylinder again. Fuck that.
Yeah, don't deal with that.
Yeah. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm all right. All right, I don't have anything new to report in the last few days.
No. Gotcha.
So same old.
Well, I think that I always believe that the same is better than worse, right?
Oh, for sure. I did. As you were talking about the cold issues, I'm still dealing with my cat's diabetes, and I found out that there's test strips that go into the blood sugar reader, right? The glucose monitor.
Yeah.
They are actually supposed to be kept between like 36 degrees Fahrenheit and like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And if they go outside of that range, they can not work anymore. Guess who had this? I spent like $50 on a new package of them to be delivered during that cold snap that we just had this week. And it did not come in protected packaging. And so it took me, so like there it's basically $1 a strip, right?
Yeah.
I essentially spent $13 trying to find one strip that could read right, to calibrate my machine so that I could read my cat's blood sugar last night. So it cost me $14 to check my cat's blood sugar where it normally just costs $1. Ridiculous. Yeah. Because and I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's Amazon's fault, like for being too lazy to keep their packages warm and like package them in something more than just like some flimsy paper.
Yeah.
Or if it's the manufacturer's fault for not like sending it to Amazon and letting them know that the temperature has to be a certain temperature.
Oh yeah, I
This
mean
is technically medical equipment, right?
yeah, I mean there's a consideration that people got to put into. Yeah, see, and that I love Amazon because of the convenience and quickness and everything, but sometimes there's shit that they ship it just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
But I'm
gonna get my money back, so I'm not like that. I'm not too worried about it.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second, Joe. I got a work call. I got to call back on real quick.
Oh, you're good.
Because I'm pretty sure this guy's gonna like fucking bitch or some shit. Because why the fuck wouldn't he? Hey, Travis. Hey, Tony. What's up, man?
Hey, sorry to bother you, man, but
No,
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
So I thought I was done, but apparently they need a gallon for me, so I'm going back to get them a gallon.
Why didn't they tell you that?
They tell me that they need a sample flashpoint, so they need a gallon sample.
Oh, yeah, they didn't mention anything about that to us.
That's what I told them, but they're like, yeah, we need one. I'm like, all right. So that's one thing. The second thing is that they don't have a strapping chart for me. I told them I need a strapping chart, and they're like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, what? I have no idea. Like, how can you not, you know? And I explained to him, since I manually gauged it, you know, I need to have what I got, you know?
Yeah. That's...
And they're like, yeah, I don't know. The guy who I was talking to in the lab, he said, yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't have nothing for you. He's like, I can give you what you got. I'm like, yeah, you give me what you got, but it's not going to be the same thing what I got because I manually gauged it. Like, they're going out to digital.
Oh, they got like a computer thing?
Yeah, they got a computer thing.
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
So, I mean, I don't know. You told me that he's never heard of that before, and I explained to him what that was.
So was he able to type it in and like produce a number at all or no?
I mean, he showed me what he got on the computer.
Okay, did you mark down that number?
I did not.
Okay, when you bring him back to sample, get that number because that's what we'll at least have to go on for right now, and then we'll just have to get a hold of the office on Monday to get strapping charts.
Gotcha, I could do that.
Alright, I appreciate you asking for the strapping charts, yeah, because this place is fairly new, so we don't have any of them. But at least this way, at least if we could get his number, then at least we kind of have an idea of a starting point and everything.
Gotcha.
So, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, I mean, they didn't mention anything to us about them getting a sample. We just needed some for APIs, but they should have mentioned that beforehand.
No, yeah. All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks.
No problem. See you.
Bye. What a swell guy. Okay. Joe, how does packages come to your house? Because knowing where you live, is everyone's package just thrown on like the same porch?
They're just brought to whatever porch they go on and left.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they just park on the street and walk it in.
Gotcha. Oh my god, dude! I see, and that's again because I'm trying to I remember because obviously I've only been to your house once, so never actually to your house, just like in the parking area.
Right.
That's a lot of snow to walk through.
Yeah, I mean it's not too bad. We haven't gotten that much yet. It's only been maybe probably 4 inches total, and not all at once.
Oh, you're lucky, man. I think we got like 7 or 8.
Dang.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
we kind of lucked out. Although I was definitely expecting, I was mentally prepared for like 12 to 18 inches. Then we got like maybe 3, and then it melted immediately because it started to rain.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to like down here and everything, there's nothing blocking shit.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I've never been in the city of Chicago in the wintertime. I know the lake and everything like really screws everything up. I know Lakeshore Drive really gets messed up and everything. I just don't know how much snow actually hits like the downtown area of Chicago because of like all the buildings blocking like the winding and everything. Obviously, if it's falling from above, I can understand it, but
right.
Can't
I
be.
would say I guess I don't really know, but when I lived in Chicago, and was going downtown pretty regularly, they would get snow, but it would only be like, maybe a few inches. Like I might get where my apartment was at one time, I might get, 12, 13 inches on the street, but then back down in the downtown area, they might not get anything.
Yeah, it's like because
or they clean it up real fast.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Where does the snow that they plow in the city go?
No idea. No, I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Yeah, and are people how big is the Chicago Public Works Department? Is everyone out there shoveling sidewalks nonstop and shit?
Right. I don't think so. So they only just now, as far as I know, made the city responsible for cleaning up the sidewalks.
What was it before? The
businesses and landowners or whatever are responsible for their own plot, their own section of the sidewalk.
That's goofy. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it is downtown. Maybe it's different, but the church for whatever, we get a fine if we don't have the whole area shoveled.
Yeah, but see, I don't get that. I'm sorry, but I mean, there are people out there. I think I just heard on the radio coming into work. It had to have been yesterday morning. A guy from Tinley Park and a guy from Bolingbrook died because of this weather.
Jeez.
Found in their driveways.
Heart attack snow?
They said that the cause of death is still pending, autopsy and all that stuff. One was a 63 or 67-year-old guy, and I think the other guy was a little bit older. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I gear towards heart attack.
Gotcha.
I'm not exactly sure what happened with them, if they were plowing or shoveling. It was weird because when I was on the drive home with Carl, he called up his mom, Grandma D, and they were talking about snow plowing and everything, and how Carl was talking about how he was going to go outside and plow everything today and get the driveway cleared up. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm just going to give Nick's buddy a case of Busch Light to come clean out my fucking driveway, because I'm not pulling this snow plow out of the shed and pushing it up front and trying to get it to run, and I'm not shoveling anything. It made me think of Grandpa Wayne.
Yeah.
When he fell and busted his hip.
Yep.
Doing that huge ass fucking snow plow and everything. And I was like, I mean, I'm assuming that, people do remember that, but I don't know why, that was the first thing that popped into my mind,
Yeah, I don't know. I think, and of course I think of my mom's dad, who died, from, he was shoveling, and then they found him in his garage. Massive heart attack.
Damn.
So,
yes.
That was, 10, 15 years ago, but.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to, public property, that's the responsibility of Public Works and all that shit. I don't own my sidewalk. Hell, I don't even own my fucking easement. I'll still get that mowed and everything. But it's like I don't use your sidewalks. I'm glad they don't have a penalty like that for sidewalks and shit. For me, because no, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be out there shoveling sidewalks and everything. Fuck that. No.
Yep.
No, especially in weather like this. And I don't know how many. After everything that happened between, the last few years, how everyone's immune system is handling cold weather and shit, and there's no point in risking it. Speaking of Chicago, though, I do want to talk about this article before we run out of time again today.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to read this?
I think I more skimmed it than read it closely, but yes.
Yeah, Chicago Museum covers up Native American display as new rules go into effect. So, from Business Insider or MSN, however you want to look at it, Native American grave protection and
repatriation.
Oh, thanks, man. I thought it was reparations, but yeah, thank you. I was looking at them like, that's too many fucking letters.
Yep.
So, Protection and Whatever Joe just said Act was established in 1990 to facilitate the protection and return of native remains and cultural objects. New rules requiring museums to obtain consent from tribes before displaying these objects went into effect on Friday. The museum, among the largest natural history museums in the world, which that I did not know. The Field Museum was the largest, among the largest. I know it was big, but, you know.
Yeah, their collection is huge.
Yep, has one of the biggest collections of native remains in the country. Federal data from 2023 shows. However, it does not have any human remains on display, which I'm actually really okay with. I'm really fine with
I am confused by that, though, because I wonder if they mean they don't have any human remains of native peoples. Because, like, I've seen mummies in the Egyptian section of the Field Museum.
My guess is they're strictly talking about like Native American remains.
Gotcha.
I would have to assume that that this act and everything that's going forth is just focused on like Native American.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's and when they're saying like human remains, because one of the biggest things was in the article is talking about displaying Native American remains, and they make the statement that they don't have it, which again I'm fine with, because honestly, like, I guess it's not that big of a deal as far as mummies, even though it should be kind of a big deal, because I mean that's somebody, dude. It's just
right. Yeah,
weird.
There is something, so especially coming at it from like a religious perspective and like a religious scholarship perspective, like as you're walking through this and you're reading about what they believe about the afterlife and how it all works and all that stuff, you almost you find yourself wondering, like, did they disappear from their afterlife when they got moved to this place? Like, are they in a new afterlife now because they're not in the, whatever pyramid or tomb they were in that had all their stuff? And like, how does that work? If that's how it actually works, because none of us will know until we actually die. What's going on over there? I don't know. It's just, it feels disrespectful.
Well, yeah,
even as they're trying to be respectful with it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, if you sit there and you look at it, and I don't know if it's a stupid way of looking at it or not, but like you just said, like you discovered inside a pyramid there's a mummy of a person, and now that person is displayed for people to view in Chicago. What's different than somebody saying, "Hey, let's go fucking pull Lincoln out, prop him up for a little bit so people can fucking observe him,"
right?
It's. Like, it's very, very similar, and I don't know. I mean, how these mummies are what? How old?
Oh, they could be, between I think 3,000 and 5,000 years old.
Okay, so is that the cutoff between, like? And I guess I'm asking for myself too, because I guess I can look at a mummy and be like, okay, cool, that's a mummy, that's a real mummy from Egypt, and blah blah. But if I was to look at a Native American that passed away within the last 500 years, I'm guessing, give or take 600 maybe, that seems a little bit too rough. It's just like, that's too soon,
Yeah, I hear that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe 1,000, maybe that cutoff, maybe.
Right.
But at the same time too, I guess, like, when you look at mummies, 9 times out of 10, like, they're kind of wrapped up, they're kind of, but when you're looking at Native American remains, you're actually looking at like bones. It's a goofy concept. I don't know if, like, maybe I'm looking at it in a weird way that other people don't look at it. Like, in their mind, like, a body is a body regardless if it's 1,000 years old, 300 years old, or whatever.
And I know there are people who feel that way about it. I'm not one of them, but.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to a lot of cultures. And like, perfect example, when you said, like, these mummies coming in all pyramids and all that stuff, it's like, where would the bones of the Native Americans found that people are displaying? Not here in Chicago. They made that clear. They're not here in Chicago, but other places. It's like, was it like somebody who fell during a battle that just happened to be there this entire time and no one realized it? Or is it somebody's, grave that was, disturbed and dug up? I don't know how I don't know anything about Native American culture. I can be honest about that. I will tell you right now, I'm going to look this up when we're done recording because I'm curious on how they bury their dead in Native American culture.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it can't be, I doubt it's wooden boxes. I'm going to guess it's more like blankets and stuff. Like back then. I'm talking about now, obviously, but back then. Yeah. Because I'm trying to remember, did they bury Kocoum in Pocahontas?
I don't know. Well, didn't she die? I think she died in England, so she probably got an English burial.
Well, not her. I'm talking about Kocoum, the warrior
Kocoum.
that was shot. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I have no idea.
I'm trying to remember. Like in my mind, I'm thinking like I think they wrapped him in a bunch of shit, like blankets and stuff like that, and carried him away. But I was like, I might just be imagining that, or like replacing that with another animated show. But I just never really knew. I was always, now I'm curious, and I'm probably going to look it up after we're done, and I'll probably have to, find that answer for, the, season premiere and everything. But, anyways, so as of now, it looks like the displays and everything are all covered up because of either, and I'm not quite sure. I don't know if I understand it fully. If it's being covered up because they have to wait on permission from like Native American communities or like I don't know who, like I know the word, it begins with a C. I just can't remember. Like a Native American like group or whatever to say, hey, it's okay to do so. Like, are they covering it up until they get that approval, or are they covering it up because they eventually have to take everything out and return it back to a certain group?
Yeah, I think they're waiting for permission for now, or approval, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, I'm sure that the plan has been, or is going to be, to slowly replace it all with like stuff that doesn't have the history behind it, Mm-hmm. So like, the thing is, so like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. A lot of the tools that are on display in the museum, can still be made today, are still made today by people who are the ancestors of the people who made the old tools. And so what they might do is they'll bring somebody in and have them like teach a workshop on it and actually make the new tool, and then that new tool is what will go in the display case, and then the old tool will go back and be like, hey, sorry, we stole this, thanks for making the new one.
Gotcha.
So I think that's the goal going forward, is to replace it with freshly made. We have permission up front to display this stuff.
Yeah, but see, and that's what I'm curious about too, because something like that, like, couldn't that just be like a quick phone call to, hey, cool if we keep this up?
Right?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Yeah. So the article says that it is covered up until they obtain consent from tribes before displaying the objects any further. For years, tribe officials and whatever word you said earlier, activists have called for the speedier return of native remains and objects. Archaeologists and museum collectors looted tribal remains from ancient graves, homes, worship sites throughout the 1800s, when the U.S. pushed Native Americans from their homes. Museums across the nation have had to decide whether to remove native objects to comply with the new rules, or risk violating them by leaving the objects on display. Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology, I don't know words.
Ethnology, yeah, you had it.
Thank you. At Harvard, which still holds on to thousands of Native American remains, have not announced how it will respond to the latest regulations. New rules are the latest efforts by the federal government to ensure museums are given tribes the proper consideration over native objects. Okay, so my question for you, and again, this may be a little bit difficult for us to kind of ask and talk about because we're not Native Americans.
Right.
But, in your opinion, is it more beneficial for Native Americans to allow museums to display their, Native American items, or is it, more logical for them to ask for it back or take it back, or either way? Is it beneficial more to Native Americans to allow museums to display the items, or for Native Americans to have them back?
Yeah. My gut feeling, my personal feeling is I would prefer that we give them back. If it has to be between those two choices, right? Like, we're not going to ask them anything. We're just going to display it versus we're going to give them back.
Oh, no, consent.
Oh, with consent, display it. I love that.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Is it more logical on the Native Americans' behalf to allow displays to continue in museums or to ask for their stuff back?
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. It probably depends on what item, right? So, but like, if personally, if it were me making a decision, I'd want my stuff on display because I want people to know about my culture, my society, you know.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I think it's one of those things that's like, I mean, obviously it would be a long drawn out process. If you get enough community members involved or whatever, it could probably go a lot bit quicker. But go to these museums. I think private collectors would be really, really hard to do. I think that would be the difficult one. But like the universities and museums who have these collections of items and stuff, if you go and look, and if you determine something has significant history to Native Americans and you want that back, you should be able to take it back. But I think there's a benefit to it to be in the museums so people can acknowledge these things like woven blankets and their structures they lived in, like teepees and huts and stuff like that. Tools they used every day and hunting tools and like things like that. Like if you find something of significance to like a battle or a popular Native American figure, I think those should go back to the Native Americans. But like if it's something just like this is just a blanket, then display that stuff and everything. Because obviously it's like if you pull everything away, then you just lose the ability to learn about those things, you know, around the world. And I think the biggest thing is to have that cultural understanding of people, and the best way to do that is to physically see things like that.
Yeah, I think so too.
And at the same time, like, you know, whatever, if they go that route, whatever artifacts they do end up getting back, and you know, they could probably build their own museum in their own, you know, in their own way and do it their own type of way and stuff like that. I would hate for everything to be taken away, but obviously I would want the stuff going back to them that is the most important to them on that aspect.
Right, for sure. And I think, you know, I don't know how to express this. I think that like the main fear that I would have about having stuff be in a museum is that people would assume that my people weren't around anymore. And so if there was a way to keep it on display, but make it clear that like we still exist and live, you know, like 10 miles from here or whatever, that would make me feel the best, I think, is to be able to be like, look, it's cool that you get to know about like the awesome technology my ancestors came with to like, you know, this is how we got around before we had cows and horses, or, you know, because, you know, there weren't horses. I mean, there were prehistoric horses in America before the Europeans got here, but they were, I believe, either hunted to extinction or like something like that. But there were no horses in North America before the Europeans got here for like thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so the horse completely changed Native American culture when the Europeans came, right? So like there's all this technology that Native Americans had in between, you know, when they got here and when the Europeans brought horses, that is totally different. And like, is not a way, you know, like the way that you think about things when you don't have a horse to get around is different than the way you think about things when you have a horse, or when you don't have a car and then you have a car. Like it's such a different mindset for technology, you know, and there's all this cool stuff. So it would be neat to be able to show off, like, look at the ingenuity of my ancestors who didn't have horses. Mm-hmm. You know, or whatever technology. They didn't have firearms. They didn't have, you know, this or that, but they were able to create this, you know, and not to like overdo it and be like, look at these amazing people who definitely never killed each other or anything. Like, that's nonsense. But they had this relationship with nature that was so like symbiotic. You know, they worked together in such a way that, like, when Europeans got here, they thought that the continent had literally been made for people to live on it. And actually, it was the work of like 20, 30,000 years of very careful agriculture. That's so careful it doesn't even look like agriculture. You know, I don't know. It's just that's the kind of stuff that I want to know about and want people to know more about. And so, like, you know, if someone has to get their cool ceremonial item back for me to learn about the other cool stuff, fine, good trade.
Yeah, like I said, no, and everything you said, phenomenal, Joe. And that's why I love doing this, because we can find topics like this, and I can be educated and learn a little bit more too. But yeah, it's just like it seemed. I guess from a perspective I guess from my perspective, for me it seems like a simple solution, but I know it's much more than that.
Right.
I hope they do come to like a common agreement to where they say, hey, listen, you know, we do want these things back, but these things, you know, I'm okay with, you know, continuously being displayed and everything. And I think like you said, if you incorporate more of what's going on today into it, I think it just makes it a little bit better. Because I do understand what you're talking about like, you know, if this stuff is in a museum, that means this stuff is gone. You know, like to display it in a museum makes the Native American seem like the dodo.
Right.
You know, here it is. You know, admire it for what it is because it's no longer here, and it's clearly obviously not the case. But yeah, I think if you make the displays and like the presentations like a progression over time to what's going on today and everything, I think that would help out. Yeah. So it was just a weird thing. Like I said, like when the article came up, I was like why? Okay, so because obviously I just read the article. I was like, you know, they're covering up Native American things. I was like, well, what the fuck happened in Chicago? But then you come to find out that it's all over the country.
And then you find out that this rule was, I mean, not this rule is new, right? It's a new interpretation of the law that was passed.
Yeah.
But this law has been around for, 34 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this the first time that anyone's being like, hey, maybe we should take this law seriously?
Yeah.
You know? Like that's almost my bigger question is like, why did it take 34 years to get to the point where it's like, oh, maybe we should ask for permission to put this on display before we display it? Let's cover things up for a second, and I don't know.
It seems like either somebody did something bad, like what happened that like all of a sudden like this has come to light. So my thought is either somebody did something that was that.
Like really desecrated or something.
Yeah, like Native Americans really didn't like, or somebody who is the head of this organization was kind of like, hey, you guys realize that like our history doesn't belong to us right now because it's in these museums and everything like that. I mean, and I think it's just kind of like maybe like, I don't want to say lax, but you know, like maybe people have just been lax over the course of the last 30 years. Like yeah, they're displaying it, it's fine, you know, it is what it is and everything. But I think like the younger generation who, you know, want to preserve like, you know, their legacy and their heritage is just like, you know, I wouldn't mind having these items back. And there's actually an act that's been put in place since I think it's in 1990 that states we have the right to possess this stuff. You know, why aren't we holding on to what brought us to where we are today?
Yeah.
You know,
so I'm looking into this a little bit, and let me double check one thing real fast. But I was looking to see who's in charge of like coming up with these rules. And yes, that's what I thought. So it's the Department of the Interior is the person who's in charge of this. The Department of Indian Affairs, which I think is the old name for things, falls underneath the purview of the Department of the Interior. And the current Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, Haaland, she is the first Native American to ever serve as a cabinet secretary at all. And so it may just be that like she's actually Native, and so she's like, hey, this is how we should be interpreting this rule, and like we've never had an actual Native American in that position. So maybe that's what it is.
Okay, yeah. So like they finally have a voice to make it what it is.
Right.
Okay. That makes perfect sense to me then. Yeah. So, well, good for her. Good for her for doing that.
Absolutely.
You know? And the thing is, like, it sounds like, and obviously, like, it's just the one article. You've done more research in this show than I've done in the last few days. It seems like it's being done the right way too. I mean, obviously, I only know Chicago and I guess a little bit of Harvard in the article, but it seems like people are honoring this request for to come to a common ground thing. Who knows? I'm sure there's a museum out there somewhere saying hey, fuck you, this is our stuff,
Right, yeah. We stole these teeth fair and square.
Right? But at least it's something nice coming out of Chicago. Like, hey, yes, we'll cover this up until we come to some kind of common ground. I would hope that they are able to at least keep some of the things, just so, it can be appreciated and admired and stuff. But at the same time, the stuff that has significant historical value to Native Americans, I would love for them to have back. And what was that girl's name again? Holland?
Yeah, Deb Holland.
Deb Holland, congrats to you for, being the first of something that's a rare thing to happen nowadays. And good for you for looking out for, your people and your heritage. That's a phenomenal thing. And I'm glad that, like I said, it's cool that it's being done the right way. A lot of other things.
Yeah, it feels good when we get something right for once. There's so much stuff we don't get right all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyone who fights back on something like this, don't be a monster. It's
silly. Yeah. It's silly to fight about because we have such good replication techniques now.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you can't find an artisan to make it, you can just scan it and then 3D print it. It's going to look the same behind glass.
Exactly.
You won't know.
Yeah. Joe, what are you freaking thinking about?
Man, I hate to be just hanging out in the same old well, but I'm now approaching episode 700 of One Piece.
How many are there? 900?
There's almost 1,200 now.
Oh, 1,200, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gee, man. Keep
trying. I'm getting there. I accidentally binged it most of the day yesterday, just had it on in the background. So I broke my rule of only 3 a day. But I hit a good patch of story and I couldn't stop. You know how that goes.
I wanna try something for this season, next season.
Yeah.
So over on JFW, Nubby is a current SCW High Voltage champion, and every time we start the show out, he announces himself as the SCW High Voltage champion, and then Pac-Man will tell him how many days he has been High Voltage champion. Starting on episode 1 of season 8, I need you to tell me the episode number you are on, and we're going to keep doing that until you finish the show.
Excellent.
Because that just sounds entertaining to me. I just want to be like, yeah, I'm Cartoon Joe, and I'm currently on episode 104 or 1004 of, and shit like that. And we'll just keep going until you finish the show.
Perfect. And that'll help me because to be able to stretch it out for the show, because eventually I am going to be caught up, and then it's going to be like, yep, I'm on episode 1189. Now I'm on episode 1190 because there's not anything else left to binge.
Well, yeah, because what would we say? Based on your watching, you'll be done by summer, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'll be caught up by summer, and then they think that there's going to be probably another year of it coming out weekly.
There we go. See, yeah, it's perfect. This is gonna be our running thing until we're done with this show.
Perfect. What about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
Honestly, not a whole lot. This car thing has been bugging me over the course. Excuse me. over the course of the last few days and everything, and honestly, I'm just ready for this weather to be over. I love snow. I love winter. I hate this cold.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're getting later into the day and the sun's coming up and the temperature on my computer is showing that it's dropping.
Oh no.
Is insane. Yeah. We're currently at like 1 degree. So, like I said, I know it's going to warm up next week. I'm really excited for that to happen, but it's only going to be for a few days, and it's supposed to be like slushy, rainy, snowy bullshit. But that's what you sign up for when you live in the Midwest.
Yep.
So I had somebody, I posted something on Facebook the other day, saying like, it's like God sitting in a recliner and there's an angel behind him, and the angel's asking God like, hey, what's in the freezer? And God responds, Illinois.
Yeah.
And somebody commented on there saying Texas is in the freezer, and I was like, you guys don't fucking know.
Well, they're on like the top shelf of the fridge.
Yeah, I think that's what I put. I think you're in the crisper. Like, I was like, I'm sorry to you guys that are fucking having a little bit of frost down there in Texas. I know it's a little bit weird for you and shit. I don't even know if Texas has heaters down there. I'm sure they do, but you know, they've probably just never been turned on. But I never want to hear Texas compare their winters to fucking Illinois. Like, it's just like, I get it that other places have like this shock to their system when, you know, their winters actually feel like winters for a couple days, but no, I mean,
it's not all that different from how I feel when it gets over 100 here. You know, it's pretty rare for it to get over 100 here. But you know what? Our society doesn't break down when that happens.
No, not one bit.
We don't get notices from the power company like, hey, the whole city could go into a blackout or a brownout if you don't turn your AC to 78.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, and that's what's nuts. Like, you know, like it, like I remember, I remember what happened. I can't remember when it happened, but years ago, like the entire state shut down because there was a dusting. Because they don't own salt trucks down in Texas. So if you get snow, so if you get snow down there, unless you live in the Midwest and you go down there like, shit, this ain't nothing, you're fucked.
Right?
You are fucked because you're saying like, I've never driven in snow before in my life. There was this dude that applied to work with us that, you know, he has great experience. He'd be a great candidate, but he grew up in Jamaica. And our idea was him to move to Wisconsin for this job. And I was talking to everyone at work. He's like, yeah, you know, this sounds good, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but this dude's never driven in snow before. Because I asked the dude, like, you ever driven in snow? No. It's like, we're going to put him in a brand new fucking truck and stick him in Wisconsin.
Right.
No.
I will say, in his defense, it's not that hard to drive in snow. And the people who've been doing it all their lives forget how every year.
Oh, it's insane. Dude, it
drives me nuts.
Insane.
I was going down to Grandma D's last weekend with the not just the snow, but the wind and the visibility. And I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. This is nothing. Thank goodness no one else is on the road today.
Yeah, I'm so ready for shitty winter drivers to get back to shitty rain drivers. Yeah. Because they're a little bit more tolerable. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Our listeners catch Cartoon Joe here on this Freakin show. Almost every week. If not a couple times, a week. Whatever. You know, he's here. You know, But, you know what? This isn't the only place Cartoon Joe goes. So if our listeners want to find Cartoon Joe anywhere else, where can they go?
We're currently on a winter hiatus, but if you need more Cartoon Joe, there are 10 years of archives over at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Good. You said your first show back is the 27th, right?
I think so.
Gotcha.
Or the 3rd, maybe. I don't know.
Excellent.
Guys,
make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just by searching This Freakin Show. Next season, we'll be releasing video podcasts of the show for the first time in 8 years. So I'm really excited for that and to see what we're able to do with that over on YouTube. We'll be released over on the Freaknet Studios YouTube channel. So make sure you head over there and subscribe and everything. I'm really excited to bring that content to you guys as well. But if you prefer the audio, you can still listen to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Player FM, wherever you find your podcast, you can find us there. Just make sure you are subscribing to us. And if they ask you to rate and review us, go ahead and do that too, because it does help us out. Guys, that's all I got. Oh, what's up, Joe? Say nice?
I was just saying nice.
See, I love when you do that. See, when some people say nice, it's just like, nice. But when you do it, it feels sincere, and it just warms my heart. It grows a little bit like the Grinch's thing.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, because you make it sound sincere, and I believe it. Do it one more time. Do it one more time. There we go. Fuck yeah, Joe. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.